So here it is, finally arrived. This little truck, you had 3 cars on there. Gina's was in the middle. Arrives 5 minutes before my meeting. So hopefully we'll get this done. Doesn't look quite as precarious as our trailer, does it? A lot smoother, a lot less tenuous. I didn't see anybody sweating bullets. And there you are.
Welcome to another exciting video with Love Coco and Shim. We've just moved into our new house. We were actually here just a week. Had a little time to unpack a few things, and Gina had to fly up to Paris for business, so she's left me alone. Our Range Rover just showed up, and if you watched our moving video, you know why it came on a trailer. And now, we're being introduced to Florida rainstorms. This is early spring, and that rain is coming down. So my first project, we're just about to jump in. So hang on, here it comes. So we've just moved into our new house, and the first project is going to be this pantry in the kitchen. Take a look at these wonderful shelves here. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to rip these shelves out, and we're going to replace them with something that will work better for our purposes. And I'm going to rip these out, and then we'll go from there. Just wanted to show you real quick how secure these shelves are. So we got these little nails here that hold these things in, and I can actually take my fingernails and pull that thing right out. These babies are secure. Okay, so we have everything ripped out of there. Unfortunately, drywall anchors always leave lots of nice little holes to patch up, but we're going to go ahead and wait for that to fix that, because Gina wants a countertop in here for her appliances. And we're going to put outlets along this wall. So we're gonna wait and see if we have any damage from that before we start patching holes. So that's the next thing. We're going to tie into an outlet that we've found back here. Yes, these are our boxes for moving. Gotta love it, eh? But on this wall right down here, you can see we've got an outlet, and perfect place to tie in. We're going to come in from the back of the wall and tie into those wires and put a few outlets in here. So stay tuned while we cut a few holes, pull some wire, and maybe we'll show you a few excerpts. All right, so here we are running electrical. This has been a bit of a pain. Had to cut more holes than anticipated. Tried to do it with some small drill holes, but just couldn't get enough leverage to feed the wire through the studs, especially on an angle. But I finally got the wire run. Shouldn't be too big of a job to patch things up, make it look nice. And that will get us going on the electrical. Ran into a bit of a problem with the thermostat. We were going to relocate the thermostat on this wall from over here, so we can make room for cupboards on that wall. But I got drilling through one of the studs on this corner, and they've run cables right down this entire corner. Not sure what the purpose of that is. Somebody was being really sneaky. So we're just gonna relocate it just close to the corner here, and we'll just have to cut those cabinets a bit short on that wall. So that's where we are for now. So I've been busy. 3 or 4 hours later, approximately. You can see I've got the outlets in. I've taped them up just to protect them, patched all the holes, retextured the drywall, and yeah, it took a few more holes than anticipated to get through those studs, but they patched up nicely, ready for paint and start putting up the support structure. So we're coming along. Okay, we've got the first angle shelf laid out. I'm using biscuit joints to connect these. I just happened to have some joints and a router bit, so it was a quick and easy way to get it done. We'll let the glue set overnight and lay this shelf in tomorrow and finish the framing for the bottom cabinet. Well, here's a little progress update on the pantry. We have the bottom shelf in. It turned out to be a bit of a challenge after gluing it up, getting it into this little space. I had to pull out some of the wall mounts to lower it down, and even then, these two outlets got in the way, and just by the hair of my chin, we got that thing in there. So, little change of gears. Instead of putting these shelves together out in the garage with the biscuit joints, I'm going to start up here at the top and work my way down. And I'm going to put the boards in separately, angle them up, try and slide the biscuit joints in place, glue them together, rest them down, and then I've cut some little wedges that we're going to just wedge in between the board and the wall here to try and hold them together while the glue dries. So I'll try and film that for you, and hopefully it'll work out well. All right, here's a little sneak peek of how the biscuit joinery works. So I've cut slots in the side of the board where the right angle board goes, and corresponding slots in this one that will lift up into place. And these are the little biscuit joints, or biscuits I should say, and they're kind of like a little wafer, and when they get wet with the glue they swell up and fill up the hole and create a pretty strong joint for where those shelves join together. And then little wedges that I talked about that I cut out, we'll use these hopefully. Once we get that board in place, these wedges will be driven down in the side here, which will push this board in tight against here since I don't have room to get clamps in here. So we'll give that a try and see how it works. I tried one last night and it actually worked. So we're using the biscuit joinery, which I mentioned. So everything's been dry fit. The slots have been cut for the biscuits, and we're going to show you how to put those together. And so hopefully everything will go without a hitch. So what we're doing is first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill our slots and our edges with glue. And these biscuits, I don't know if I mentioned before, they're just like a little piece of wood, but they're like a wafer, and they absorb the moisture of the glue, and when they get wet they swell and fill in the spots. So what we're doing is I'm just applying a liberal coating of glue on my board, and yes, I've got dripping glue everywhere. I've got cardboard down below catching this mess. So it is a little precarious doing this in a horizontal fashion here, right here in the pantry, but it is what it is. It's what we need to do to get this done. So now I'm just going to do the same thing on this board, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm going to fill the glue slots on the other board and apply a liberal coat across the edge of the board, and then we're going to fit these together and we'll see how it works, right? Okay, now first rule is have a wet rag ready. Which I conveniently left sitting on the counter. So we're just going to clean our hands off. Now we're going to take these biscuits and we're going to slide them into the holes. Obviously in this position, the faster you can do this, the better, because we're losing glue out of the holes. All right, now we're gonna lift this board up into place. And the trick is we're gonna have to lift this board, and it's a tight fit. Pardon my head. Sorry for the bump, but I've got to slide the camera out of the way. Okay, here we go. And like that. So now, what I've done is I've pre-made these little shims. And we're going to, since I can't get clamps in here like I normally would, we're going to use these shims on the end of this board over here. See if I can show you that. And we'll get the board lined up where we want it. And we're going to put these shims between the wall and our board. And we're going to pound them in place. And it's a lot easier to pound if you actually have your hammer with you. How about that? And now we're just going to pound these wedges in. And what that's doing is it's pushing against this board, against this wall, then, or against this board, and then against the wall over here. And essentially what we're doing is, this is our clamping system. We're holding these two shelves tight against one another. And now, because my wife's a quilter, we're going to use some parchment paper. And we're going to clamp a board across the seam on bottom and top. And the purpose of that is just to keep the board from popping up, is to keep it flat while the glue dries. You can see that. Just tighten that down. Now obviously I can't get a clamp against this wall back here, which is what I would normally do if I was doing this in the shop. So I'll get something heavy and just set on that. It's supported by the wall in the back, so we can't bow down. And we'll let this dry 24 hours. And in the meantime, we'll get custom fitting the next shelf down so it's ready to go. And we're just one step at a time here. One thing I didn't mention is rubbing the excess glue off the bottom of the and top of the seams. So I think we dripped most of our excess glue off in this case, but I'm going to double check, but I'll do that in just a minute. All right, just a preview or a sneak peek of progress on our pantry build-in. The shelves are all in, corners are secure. Just waiting on the countertop, which we'll wait to do till Jina gets home. Let her make that decision on what that looks like. But just need to do the trim, build some supports in, and we're ready to go. All right, here we are. We have the first piece of the face frame in for the countertop and the bottom shelf. Just now cutting pieces for the second one. We've drilled appropriate pocket holes and secured the face frame together with pocket holes and glue. And we'll do the same for the top 3 shelves, and those will be supported from the ceiling. And so this will be a hanging support. So we'll get there, it's coming. Moving in here on the pantry, the bottom is finally done. The fascia's all in, support structure for the countertop is done, and other than some paint on that fascia, it's ready for countertop once we decide what that is. So next step, we're going to work on the face for the top 3 shelves, and that's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. We have a little night action going on here, a little after work fun and enjoyment. This is the fascia for the pantry shelves, and we're just finishing these up. So this is the right side. The left side is mostly complete, but these are just put together with those pocket holes that I showed you earlier. And just clamp each joint, put some glue on them first, and you can see the pocket holes here as they join each piece together. And we're just finishing this up. Typically I don't even need to use these cross clamps, but I had one piece of wood that was a little warped, and I didn't realize it until I was halfway through the process, and I just got in too big of a hurry and didn't check it, and I was running out of wood, so we used it, and it'll work once it's all put together and wedged into the wall. So this is what it looks like, and we'll show you the finished product in a bit.
So we're getting ready to cut this butcher board. You happy with it?
We'll see if it fits. As we come up on the end of this project, I really wish Jina was here to tell you about it. But as I'm finishing the editing, she's away on business. And so you're going to have to put up with my voice. But you can see the finished product. We ended up using butcher block for the countertop. And we just used the butcher block oil that you just buy at the same hardware store where you buy the butcher block. And we'll see how that works. But we think it turned out really nice, and we're really happy we did this. This has made such better use of our space, and of course, it looks beautiful. Thanks for joining in, and we hope you'll stay tuned for our next exciting adventure, because it's coming soon. Till then, have a good one.